Reserves Squadron Leader, and I'll be guiding you through all of the fantastic discussions and insights that we're going to hear today. It's great to see so many of you here. You have brought the weather with you yet again, but of course, the weather here certainly does mask on a global scale the turbulent conditions that we're facing geopolitically. So it could not really be a better time for you all to join together as air and space chiefs to really look at how we can address some of these issues. Of course, we have the enduring threat to our security from Russia, ongoing conflict in Ukraine and parts of the Middle East, and also rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific. We are also in a super election year. It probably hasn't escaped you that here in the UK we've just had a general election and a new government has taken over after the Labour Party won that election, a government headed by Sir Keir Starmer. We are, of course, in this super election year, and there are other elections to come which could cause further political instability, and of course, eyes are on the US presidential elections as well. We have just had a landmark anniversary, the 75th anniversary of the formation of NATO, the really successful defensive alliance in our history, and the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. What an incredible feat of arms that was, perhaps the largest and most successful in our history, and really does demonstrate what can be done if we join together. It can't be a better time for me now to introduce Greg Bagwell. He is Air Marshal Greg Bagwell. He is one of the RAF's most experienced operational commanders and warfighters, but he's also now the president of our Air and Space Power Association, which orchestrates this conference on behalf of the Chief of the Air Staff, and what a fantastic conference it is. So please do give Air Marshal Greg Bagwell a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Susannah. She didn't mean most experienced, she just meant old. I've even got the beard to prove it. It is such a pleasure to host again this conference. Boy, those lights are bright. I can't see anybody. I'm assuming you're still out there. It's always a pleasure to invite you here to this place. I think it's probably never been more important to meet in this group to talk about the things we're going to talk about, as Susannah has rightly said. I wrote in one of my pieces in the journal article in the pamphlet you can get at reception about NATO. And actually NATO's first ever headquarters was about 3 miles down the road that way. It didn't stay there for long. The bright lights of Brussels and Paris were too seductive. But it started with a headquarters staff of 150. Those were the days, weren't they? But here we still are 75 years later, and I don't think the alliance has ever been more challenged, but has never been more important. There are plenty of things that will come along and give us difficulties to manage, but sitting in this room, talking with friends, being able to work through those challenges, not just within NATO, but also other allies and partners around the world, is so fundamental. I don't really want to single anybody out, but a particular warm welcome to the Swedish and the Finnish chief here today, who are now always been our friends, but now are officially part of the NATO team. So welcome to both of you and the team you've brought with you. I make one apology. You're often, when you come to these shows, I know that you all want to get your little bag of gifts. You get your nice little case that you can't really carry on the tube because everyone can see where you've been, but you get your books and your pens and your things. I have to apologise. This year I came up with a different plan. I thought it'd be really nice to have a baseball hat that you could all wear at Ret'd, and I came up with a slogan which was maximise air power's generic advantage. It turns out that cap's already taken, and we've had to have them all destroyed. So I apologise for that. It is my fault. I'm not going to say too much more about the content. You'll get to see me a couple of times as the days go on. I know it's an excellent team of speakers. Susannah, as ever, will do a fantastic job of keeping them under control. But actually, we don't want too much control. If we can't be honest and open about our challenges and how we're going to face them in this room, then we're really going to struggle in combat. So this is the time and the place to do exactly that sort of level of talking. My thanks to the IET and the entire backroom staff, both from the Air Power Association and the IET, And thanks to the Air Force and Sir Rich for obviously their patronage and the fact that they're hosting this conference. Have a great 2 days. If there's any issue, either grab me or one of the team and we will fix it, I promise you. Enjoy your 2 days. I can only apologise for the weather already. I can't believe a Brit's apologising for the weather. But there you go. We've actually robbed the sun from Spain since they took our cup away, so that's only fair. And for those that are staying for the reception tonight, I'm pretty confident the weather's going to be superb, so we will see you upstairs at 5:30. Without further ado then, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, who is Air Vice-Marshal Suraya Marshall. I know Suraya from a long, long time. She's a fighter gator by trade, and I can't think of anybody better to be right now in the Ministry of Defence as the Assistant Chief of the Air Staff, as we are about to enter a defence review like no other before it, in my opinion. So Suraya, over to you. Welcome to the new role, and we wish you well on the conference.
I think the fact that we've known each other for so long means I'm also old. But anyway, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Chief of the Royal Air Force to welcome so many of you to this year's conference. It is great to see so many familiar faces and friends, but also new faces, and we look forward to engaging with you and making friends over these coming few days. So the theme of this year's conference is deterrence, interoperability, and integration. It's an opportunity for us to focus on the key challenges that are facing us all, preparing our respective services to be ready to fly and fight, deterring potential adversaries from using their aggression against us, and also enhancing our deterrence through better integration and interoperability with key allies and partners. In an increasingly contested and dangerous world, conferences such as these are really important. Technology and capability, yes, is absolutely vital, but at its heart, what we do is a human endeavour. Integration and interoperability can only really be fully realised when leaders of air and space forces work together in harmony and with synergy, when we train and operate together, when we grow our international network of air and space experts, through gaining a better understanding of each other and our strengths, through sharing best practice, and through getting an insight into how we can all add value to our joint and combined operations. Only then will we grow stronger and become increasingly effective. So the conference this year has been designed to include as many international leaders as possible, and it's so wonderful to see so many of you here today. The conference will integrate leading speakers to give a real breadth of perspective. We've got some amazing speakers, some fellow air and space chiefs from different services around the globe, international academic partners, and of course partners across the international aerospace and defence industry. But to maximise the benefit of this conference, which is absolutely what we want to do, we need to be honest with each other. We need to challenge the things that we don't necessarily agree with, and we need to discuss those different perspectives and focus on finding constructive and pragmatic solutions to the challenges we all face. So please do engage proactively. I know you will, throughout the conference, whether in the formal Q&A sessions or through the informal networking that we've got in the lunches, the breaks, and of course the reception this evening. We do have the largest gathering of air and space leaders here in London. I think 64 different air and space forces represented, which is truly incredible. And I do believe that between us, we have the collective experience to improve our integration and enhance our interoperability and set us on the right vector for future success. So thank you very much for attending, and I greatly look forward to engaging with you all over the next couple of days. Thank you very much.